Boy, I better go to sleep early tonight. I gotta get up early tomorrow. I should have a couple of beers. Oh boy, if I do though, I'm not as young as I used to be. I don't want to feel sick, I need to get a good rest tonight. Boy, it's pretty hot out today. I better turn the air conditioning on. Oh boy. You know what, I think I'm gonna go take a step outside for a bit before I do this. It's too nice of a day to be sitting inside doing a podcast. But you know what, I think I'm gonna do the podcast instead. Yeah. It's more important. I gotta talk about this subject with people. It's very, very, very critical, very important stuff. Look, people don't really think about this stuff that I'm thinking about, and I gotta get it out there. I gotta talk about it.
Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Now, of course, that was all staged. Could you imagine if, we could all read each other's minds? How chaotic would that seem? What kind of world would this be? There would be no individuality. Everyone would know everything that anybody else is thinking. It would be all working toward one goal, forcibly, basically. Your thoughts would not be your own. It'd be shared with everything, all the other beings. I don't know how that would work, but apparently that's what is going on with these alien visitors. They are able to read minds. How they have accomplished this is unknown. Did they evolve into this? Over time, over millions of years, did they just develop this ability, or was it something that was implanted into them? Some sort of technology that they're using to achieve this this ability. It's just incredible. I just can't imagine how it worked. Now, there are some human beings who claim to be telepathic, who are able to read other people's minds. I really haven't seen, definitive proof of this. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't know. These beings apparently are able to do it. So I guess if a human being is able to read the words that an alien being is zipping into his or her brain, well, I'm assuming that we would have that ability too. Maybe it's just suppressed at this point in our development. Who knows? I don't know. But they are able to do this. And you got to wonder, that's a big time advantage. In one way it is, but I don't think I'd want to live my life like that. You'd be all the time. You'd be constantly, it'd be constant hearing thoughts from your fellow beings all the time. It would be just, I don't see how you could ever shut it down. How could you shut it down? Maybe if it's technologically induced, maybe then that way you could shut it down somehow, but who knows? It's just one of those questions that is just hanging out there that we don't have an answer to at this point. But we might get an answer to that at some point, actually, because if these things take over, like some people think that's what's going to happen, if they are here and this is a colonization program that's going on, one day you might wake up and you might be getting messages sent to your brain telling you, hey, buddy, guess what? It's over. We're in charge now. And you're going to be wondering, where's that sound coming from? You're going to realize, wait a minute, that's in my head. I guess we don't know how powerful is this ability of theirs? What's the range? If somebody that I know was 2 or 3 blocks up the street from my house and I don't have a cell phone to contact that person, I have to stand on my porch and, yell at them, and maybe they'll hear me. But if you're a telepathic alien, you probably just sit where you're sitting and just start thinking about that particular being you want to get in contact with, and somehow it works. Or, maybe you think of a thought, you start thinking of a particular being and that you want to talk to, and that message gets passed through to a whole bunch of other beings before it finally hits the one that you're trying to reach. It's almost like individuals, each being represents an individual cell phone tower. I don't know. It's all speculation, but the reality is that these beings, exhibit telepathic communication. I think it's something that we should think about because, I wonder if there's a way to interfere with that. How do you, maybe that be a way of defeating them if there would be some way of stopping them from communicating with each other, because right now that would be a tremendous advantage. We can't, it's not like, the National Security Agency or something to be able to, tap in anybody's cell phone they want to and listen to what conversations being, or what kind of conversations are being had, right? It's not like we can do that, but maybe there's something else we could do if we could understand even how they're doing it. But it's a major advantage that they have. And you wonder, at the same time, I mean, if these things did evolve from insects, apparently the when you look at the command structure of these aliens, I mean, you have the little grays who seem to do the menial work, like, grabbing the person they're going to abduct. And then you have the taller grays who, do the interrogation and the experiments and everything else on board, while the praying mantis, oversees everything. So it seems like the praying mantis ones are in charge. And you wonder, is that what's going on here? These little gray beings and the taller grays, what if actually they are, they are the product of a hybridization program themselves? Maybe a hybridization program involving us, or possibly other humanoids from other planets. And basically what's going on here is these praying mantis beings have created these things to basically as slaves, over millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years, who knows? And that's what's going on. Like, a lot of people do consider them to be, almost like robots in a way, flesh and blood robots, but robots nonetheless. And could they have been created and they were somehow endowed with this telepathic gift that they inherited from their makers, the praying mantis or ants or whatever? Like, some people say they look like ants. To me, most people say they look like praying mantises. They do look like praying mantises. And if that's what they are, and they're able to do this, well, I don't know. We're in trouble, I guess. It's just something to think about. Just another issue to be concerned with, actually, that they could communicate telepathically. It's not a good thing. I mean, it seems like they have the ability not only, to communicate telepathically, but of course they could actually shut you down and basically you have no idea that you're even being abducted. A lot of times, even people who are in the vicinity of a person who's about to get abducted, these alien beings are able to shut them down, shut their minds off like a switch, turning a light off. So, it's amazing the stuff that the power that they have over our mental capacities. It's a scary thought, actually. And you would hope that the Pentagon, I'm sure people in the Pentagon have been looking at this and are aware of this and are hopefully somebody, you would think. I could understand why they're not, why they wouldn't want to tell us about this if it's true, if it is, if these beings are here to colonize the planet. I can understand them not telling us that. And they're here to, feed on the, blood of other animals. If that's the case, and they don't want to tell us that because of that, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes more sense than anything else with regard to the cover-up. But you would hope that all these years they understand that these beings can communicate telepathically, and maybe they've been trying to develop some sort of method where they could, scramble their signals somehow. You would hope. But they're not going to tell us that. Maybe that's one of the reasons for keeping it secret, because that's what the government's doing behind the scenes. They're trying to develop methods to combat these things. And if they were to tell us, if they were to say to the world, hey, yeah, there's alien beings here and they're here to colonize the planet. It looks like they want to kick us off, and they're going to enslave some of us. They're going to, they're doing this hybridization program to get their little gray guys more adept for living on this world, and that's what that's all about. So we're trying to figure out a way to, stop their telepathic abilities. Maybe this way we could stop them from taking over the world. Well, if they were, you can understand why they were not going to come out and say something like that, because if they did, they'd be spilling the beans to the aliens, right? But would it really matter? I mean, if you're thinking about doing something like that, if they could read your mind and they could basically travel anywhere, they hover over all of our military facilities. Apparently, they shut down nuclear weapons at nuclear silos. So I'm not sure if that's, if you're thinking about doing that, wouldn't you think they know about it? I mean, not only that, but even if you're not thinking about doing that, right? I'm sure that they have a contingency plan in place in the event that we ever did try to figure something out to prevent them from communicating with each other telepathically. But yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I could tell you as a human being, I would not want to live in a world where all you're hearing is the chatter of everyone's thoughts constantly, bombarding your brain cells on a regular 24-hour, 7-day-a-week basis. That would drive you crazy. You would think it just wouldn't be. You wouldn't be able to think. I was reading some segments on David Jacobs' The Threat, which is about was written in the was published in the late 90s about alien abductions, and basically he came to the conclusion in this book that the aliens there's going to be some change. I have talked about this before. There's going to be some change where the aliens take control, right? Where they basically they take off the mask and they say that's it, we're in charge now. Basically, that was the whole gist of it. And, of course, in this book, it detailed the abilities, the telepathic abilities. They have these ability to stare in your face and, give you, put ideas and visions into your brain in addition to communication. So they have a lot of abilities with their brains, apparently. But they're in one part of that book, they were talking about how in the future, that we're not going to have memories like we have now. Like, when you think fondly back on people in your life that are gone now, or memories, you're not going to have that in the future. So meaning that when they take over and it's just the aliens in control with the hybrids and the aliens and hybrids, and then some of the abductees, and it doesn't say anything about non-abductees, so I guess they're expendable. I don't know what they plan on doing with them, according to this book. It's the aliens never talk about non-abductees as part of the future, so I'm assuming that they're gonna, get rid of them somehow. I don't know. If you're not an alien abductee, then you're going to be out of luck when the shoe finally drops. Apparently, according to this book, yeah, I mean, it's all scary. I mean, so if that means if they take over, then the whole world, everyone's going to communicate here. Any human beings that are left are going to be getting issued orders and commands through some sort of telepathy from these beings, from telepathic messages that are going to be conveyed by these our conquerors, if you will. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I know some people don't like to say that, but I'm going to say it because basically that's what it would be. They're taking over, and if that's what indeed is happening. But it's a scary thought. It's something to think about. Don't think too hard about it, though, because it's scary.